How often we don't get enough attention. Sometimes we try our best to get it, but we never get any. It seemed like I was lucky because someone decided to give me gifts, but I wasn't happy about it. My name's Riley, and this is my story. Well, can I tell you about myself? I go to a very ordinary school. I'm no different from my classmates. I'm not popular, but I'm not at the bottom of the school food chain, and I do not suffer from problems with parents and teachers. As you can see, no one has any reason to scare me away or hate me, and even in terms of relationships, I'm doing great. Yeah, Jordan's not perfect, and he's not handsome, but he makes me feel good, at least for now. But that's all backstory. The story began when I came home from school one day, an ordinary day, nothing special. I said hello to my parents and went up to my room, and there was a surprise waiting for me. There was a box on the bed that didn't look pretty at all. I went down to my parents. Mom? Dad? Did we have visitors? No, what's wrong, honey? Dad asked me. Someone left a box in my room. I don't like it at all. Maybe one of you guys could come with me and help me to see what's inside. Dad volunteered to help. He went over to the box, took it in his hands, shook it, listened to it, estimated its weight. I don't think there's anything dangerous in there, Riley. Let's take a look inside. And with these words, he opened up the mysterious package. Inside was a creepy hair. This stuffed toy was dirty and very shabby. It had many patches on it, and the fake fur had gaps here and there. Even Dad felt uncomfortable at the sight of the strange bunny. Maybe you should throw it away? I asked. Dad didn't argue, silently walked out of my room and threw the creepy toy away. Thoughts of the strange gift kept me awake all night. In the morning, I told Jordan everything. Are you sure you aren't imagining things? He frowned. I think you just came up with a weird bunny to make me feel sorry for you. Well, my boyfriend was too cool to support me. I had to go to Ever, my closest friend. Ever dreamt of becoming an actress and was always taking classes and auditions. I was lucky enough to have Ever in school that day. I told my friend about the weird package. You know, in one of the classes, they taught us how to respond appropriately to fan gifts, especially weird ones. Just ignore it. In time, it should stop. Thoughtful, my friend added. And if you think someone wants to hurt you, you should go to the police. Okay, I understand. Thanks for the advice, Ever. Talking to my friend made me feel better. Now I knew what to do. In the afternoon, when I got home, I went up to my room and froze on the threshold. On the bed again laid a box, only a little bigger. It looked just as creepy as the one from a day before. This time, I opened it myself, and I wish I hadn't. The stench in the room was unbearable. I opened all the windows and ran out of the room. My parents weren't home yet, so I had to deal with the problem myself. I went back up to my room only an hour later. The smell was still there, but not as strong. I peered carefully into the box. There laid an ugly bouquet of dried and rotten peonies, and it was tied with a pretty ribbon, which threw me completely off balance. I looked around the box, trying to find a note or an inscription, but I couldn't find anything like that. I was determined to find out who was sending me these strange gifts. I pretended to be sick and didn't go to school the next day, so I could investigate it myself. My parents agreed letting me stay at home easily. Only one thing could help me figure out who was bringing the mysterious boxes: a video camera. When my parents left, I got dressed and pretended to go to school, but actually walked around the block and came home. When I opened the exit door, I heard a strange rustling in my room. Turning on the app on my phone, I saw that as soon as I left, a certain man with a box in his hands had climbed into my room through the window. He left a present on the bed, as usual, and disappeared the same way he'd snuck into the room. This time, the box contained a rather cute but old bear. Too bad I came back so late. I had to repeat the same trick the next day. I left the house, but this time I lurked in the garage. I waited for that slick delivery guy, and then I chased after him. I followed the stranger, trying not to give myself away or scare him away. It was difficult. We walked through narrow streets where it was almost impossible to hide, but I was very lucky not to give myself away, even for once. We got quite far away from home. The courier led me to a poor neighborhood in our city. The house he approached looked unreliable and even frightening. A nice-looking guy came out to meet the stranger. They talked about something, and the courier hurried away. Now I was interested in this nice guy, So I cautiously crept up to the house. Through the window, I saw him playing at his computer. At one point, the guy turned the game off, and I saw my photo on the whole screen. Yes, he was just sitting there admiring me. And then he left the house and went to the junkyard. I watched carefully the whole time. I watched him digging through the trash and picking up toys, flowers, and other little things that are usually given to girls. After picking up a decent pile of stuff, the guy came home and started putting each item next to my picture on the computer, apparently deciding which gift would suit me best. I decided to take a picture of the boy and look him up on social media. His face seemed familiar, and I was not mistaken. It was Steven, a boy from my school. No one had ever said anything bad about him, but he wasn't known at school either. He was a gray mouse that no one really noticed. I studied his page and realized that Steve is very shy and romantic. He writes poetry and is obviously in love with me. But I have Jordan. I decided to talk to my mom about it. Yeah, it's not an easy situation. Are you sure you want to be with Jordan? Mom asked. Of course, I want to be with him. I didn't want to upset you, but I saw Jordan out with another girl today. It's probably his sister. Well, I have to say, for a brother and sister, they have a very affectionate relationship. I don't remember going everywhere with my brother while embracing him. Those words made me want to fall under the ground. And really, since Wednesday, Jordan hadn't written to me, or called me, or even offered to meet me. It hurt me deeply that he'd done that to me. I think you should consider Steve and get to know him. Take a step forward to meet him. He made his first move. I cried all night because of Jordan's infidelity. Still, I wanted to make sure my mother wasn't wrong. I wanted to catch my boyfriend with another girl so I could make a scene and ruin his new relationship. So, I decided I couldn't do it alone. On Monday, I found Steven at school. Hi. Hi. The guy was clearly excited. I walked up to him. You're Steven, right? He nodded his head in response. I'm Riley, and I happen to know that you're in love with me. It's true. I'm sorry for the creepy gifts I've been leaving, but I understand you wanted to please me. You want to ask me out on a date? I do, Steven smiled. And that's when I suggested that as a date, to go to my almost ex-boyfriend's house to cause a scandal. With Steven's help, I figured out where Jordan was going with his new girlfriend. I was just lucky that Steven and Jordan are on the same soccer team. Jordan just can talk quietly, and everything he told his friends, the whole locker room could hear. The date spot turned out to be a park. My boyfriend always had a poor fantasy, so I knew exactly which route he was going to take his new date. The plan was this. Steven and I would pretend to play badminton, hide in the bushes, and at the right time, I dropped the shuttlecock on the road, right in front of the lovey-dovey couple. First, Steven comes out on the road and pretends to look for the shuttlecock, and then I'll join him and accidentally see the cheating Jordan with someone else. It's the perfect plan. Steven helped me think it through because he knew a lot about crafty plans. As evening wore on, he headed for the park. A shuttlecock, Steven, me. Our cunning plan had worked perfectly. God, you should have seen Jordan's face when he recognized me. He looked at me like I was a tree that had suddenly pulled its roots out of the ground and went about its business. It was so funny, but I didn't show it and turned into a top-notch actress. Life has taught me better acting than any of Ever's acting classes. Jordan? What is that? Who is that? Honey, it's not what you think. Jordan looked so ridiculous and funny. And what did I think? I don't know. Jordan, I don't understand. Who is this girl? His new love joined the conversation, and I decided to make it more dramatic so they'd both remember the scene for a long time. What do you mean who? I'm his girlfriend, the best and the most beloved, as he said. Except Jordan's been missing for the last couple of days, and now I know where. Without another word, the stranger gave my ex-boyfriend a slap on the face and proudly walked away, leaving us alone. Jordan was really upset. I tried not to laugh in his face, and all Steven needed was popcorn. Riley, I'm sorry. Jordan looked at me pitifully, but instead of answering him, I walked over to Steven, and then I kissed him right in front of my ex. Both Steven and Jordan were shocked. Only for the former it was a pleasant shock, but the other was a complete wreck. I spent that night on a date with Steven, and it was the most beautiful night of my life. The guy complimented me a lot and acted very polite and nice. He read me his poetry and tried to make me forget all the troubles that had happened to me. Compared to Jordan, Steven was 5 heads taller, caring, romantic, and attentive. And I didn't care that my new boyfriend didn't have any pocket money. From that day on, we started dating. Steven took me on dates, and even though there weren't restaurants or clubs or cafes, we still had a really good time. One day, I suggested to Steven to write a real book and send it to a publisher. My boyfriend was hesitant for a long time. He thought of his writing as just a hobby, but I could see what talent was in that humble man's soul. I tried my best to support him and raise his self-esteem, and Steven finally made up his mind. I'm sure that he'll succeed, and one day, the whole world will be talking about his book. Share this video with someone who lacks attention and support from the other half. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel.